Former trans gay activist aims to deprogram children from woke indoctrination. Quote, children cannot consent. Interesting, isn't it? We'll watch the video here in a second, but I want to go through the article first. Interesting stuff. Children cannot consent. Well, that means that they can't consent to being cis either, right? They can't consent to the current indoctrination they face under cis people, right? Is that right? You mean we should teach, gender neutral stuff and non-binary stuff? That's what that means, right? I think that's what that means. Kay Yang says her non-coercive work, sorry, I'm still recovering from jaw surgery, aims to educate others to make the best decisions for their families. Former trans and gay activist Kay Yang is turning the tables on woke ideology and has been setting out to undo public schools' indoctrination by deprogramming children who have been exposed to radical gender ideology in the classroom. 10 years ago, no one had ever heard of a trans child, she said Sunday on Fox and Friends Weekend. The work that I was doing at the LGBT Center was helping to pave the way for the creation and normalization of the so-called trans child. But children are not trans, and children cannot consent to puberty blockers, wrong sex hormones, and surgeries that alter their healthy bodies and sterilize them. If they can't consent to wrong sex hormones, then they can't consent to their puberty, right? That's how that works, right? I think that's how that works. Yang told co-hosts Emily Campanago, I'm very bad at pronunciation, but these are Fox News people, so I'm not feeling too bad about it, and Pete Hegseth, that the funding from the New York State Department of Public Health covered the work that she did on behalf of the LGBTQ+ community in her early 20s and allowed her to focus on indoctrinating children with radical gender ideology, similar to what has become a source of controversy in classrooms across the nation. This article, by the way, is also from Fox News, so there's a little bit of bias there, I think. We used themes of acceptance, anti-bullying, and suicide prevention in order to gain sympathy and trust from teachers and parents, she said, adding that her work led to the changes she subsequently set out to undo by becoming a deprogrammer. Yang said she works as a deprogrammer independently and is not looking to sell any services, but instead focuses on helping others become informed enough to make the best decisions for themselves and their families. I have cat all over me right now. The work that I do is completely non-coercive. I'm not here to force anyone to listen to me, she said. All right. I seek to provide research, information, and resources that mothers, fathers, grandparents, and families in general can use to empower themselves to make the best choices for them and their children. Yang said the conversions she has with conversations she has with children and teens who have been swayed by their school's curriculum are confidential and come from direct referrals through people and organizations she knows well. She added that her deprogramming efforts are something she does out of her heart. I feel for the parents and families that are struggling with this because I know so intimately what they're going through, as I was indoctrinated and programmed to this ideology myself. Programmed? I'm not sure it takes too much programming for a lot of these trans kids. And that's not to say that they're influential by any means, but that it's when someone wants something, it doesn't take a whole lot of convincing to tell them to do it. You know what I mean? Like, these kids are going to be trans anyway. 99% of these people are going to be trans regardless. So, Yang serves as an activist for biological women, including championing for women's rights in athletics and other sex-based rights for women and girls. She also led a group to protest Biden's executive order on gender identity in Washington, D.C. Yeah, we all see how that planned out. That was wildly successful. Okay, let's do the video. Let's watch the video. Oh, sorry, I probably have to undo that. We'll just watch it in. Yeah, we'll watch it like this. Okay, we'll watch it like this.
We will never comply with the lies of transgender ideology. Men are not women. Men will never be women. Females are the rightful keepers of birth and of humanity.
A former trans and gay activist is turning the tables after witnessing what she believes is propaganda about gender in high schools. Now she works as a deprogrammer to help parents and indoctrinated children.
Joining us now to tell us more is Kay Yang. Kay, thanks for being here. So you're helping.
Good morning.
Right now you're trying to help deprogram kids, but you used to be pushing the same thing that you're fighting against now. What were you pushing, and why did you decide it was so bad for kids?
That's right, Pete. Good morning to
morning.
you, Pete and Emily. When I was in my early 20s, I was paid with funding from the New York State Department of Health to indoctrinate public school children with gender identity and transgender ideology. We use themes of acceptance, anti-bullying, and suicide prevention
Yes.
in order to gain sympathy and trust from teachers and parents. And 10 years ago, no one had ever heard of a trans child. The work I was doing at the LGBT Center was helping to pave the way for the creation and normalization of the so-called trans child.
I want to pause it right there for just a second. I know trans people who have been trans for longer than 10 years and were children when they started. So first of all, her premise is completely, there's nothing there. There's no weight to it at all. Because those things do exist. This is just a talking point for Fox News so that she can get on the channel. That's all that was.
Children are not trans, and children cannot consent to puberty blockers, wrong sex hormones, and surgeries that alter their healthy bodies and sterilize them.
So Kay, right now you work with families to help deprogram their children. What does that cost? How long does it take? Is this your full-time position? Tell us more a little bit about what you're doing now in that way.
Yes, thank you. So I'm completely independent and I represent only myself. I'm not here to sell any services. The conversations that I have with parents of children and teens who've been indoctrinated with gender identity ideology are confidential, and they come from direct referrals through people and organizations that I have established relationships with already. The work I do is completely non-coercive. I'm not here to force anyone to listen to me. I seek to provide research, information, and resources that mothers, fathers, grandparents, and families in general can use to empower themselves to make the best choices for them and their children.
Thank you for that. But I just want to be clear here. So, this has become a business. How much does a family pay someone to help someone else deprogram their child?
So the work that I do is largely for free. It's not a for-profit. It's not a job for me. It's something that I do out of my heart because I feel for the parents and families that are struggling with this, because I know so intimately what they're going through, as I was indoctrinated and programmed to this ideology myself.
Right, that's good.
Hey,
that's great.
We're almost out of time, but is it going to get worse? Are they going to keep pushing this?
Yes, I think it is going to get worse. The gender identity industry has really spread its tentacles into every facet of our society. I think that's clear. This is a coordinated attack on our children, and it's being done in the name of trans rights. It's being perpetrated on the local level, the state level, and a federal level, and from the direction of global governing bodies like the United Nations and the World Economic Forum.
We're running out of time, but thank you for sharing this and for your courage to stand up. We appreciate it. More Fox and Friends.
Thank you.
Okay, let's first of all, one of the big things that a lot of these people don't understand about the experience of being trans is that, hello, cat. Hi. Can you get down for me, please, baby? I'm doing a stream. Please get down. Thank you. Good girl. Sorry about that. My roommate's cat wanted to say hello. She's very kind. Yes. So one of the things that a lot of people don't understand about the experience of being trans is that the earlier that you start hormones, the better results you are going to have. Not just physically as far as changes to your body, but also mentally and emotionally and socially. The social aspect is a big part of this. The longer that you are trans, the more people are likely to see you as your gender rather than just some person doing it for fun or writing a trend or whatever. You know, a lot of this is not. A lot of these arguments against trans people are not founded in reality. And if these people had any interest in getting to the root of it and getting to the bottom of it, what they would be doing is they would be talking to trans people, right? Instead, what they do is they find these lolcows, these people that, you know, are just absolutely wild, that can't properly defend their points, and they bring them on these mainstream shows, and they make an example out of them. They say that, oh, look, this is the typical trans person, and the person's got like a shaved side of their head, and their hair is like 9 different colors, and they've got 100 piercings in their face, and that's not true. That's not the typical trans person. Okay? That's a segment of the queer community that doesn't necessarily have to always intersect with being trans. Okay? Anyway, let's move on. I am tired of talking about this detransitioner. Let's move on, okay?